All right. It looks like my audio. Sorry about that. My name's Tracy. Hi, Southern Charm. Hi, Leanne. How are you? I'm sorry. Really fuzzy. Zero idea. This is just typical of my household. I have no idea what he's telling me. So let me go find out. I'll be right All right, sorry about that. I guess he was yelling at me that we have. So, if it's too echoey, let me know when you chat. My husband, right now. As I was saying, welcome in. For those of my computer right here in front of me, so I can read chat. My eyesight is access. I need to have my computer up close. I should wear glasses. I don't wear glasses. They make me feel sick, so that's why I don't wear them. Anyways, we were talking about wins. What are your wins for the week? And I was saying my wins are that I got my shipping done on time. Not that I'm late on shipping, but felt like I was really on top of it this week, so that was one of my wins. Oh, our sound is fixed. Thank you, Southern Charm. I appreciate that. And let's see, what is another win? I exercised like I was supposed to. So I am training for a marathon, and sometimes I slack off a little bit on my training plan. This week I felt like I did good. So those are my wins. Feel free, put your wins in the chat. What were your wins? I did have some prepared notes for today. Nothing, extensive. But I thought we could talk about buyers and sellers, like new advice to both. Like, what would you tell a new seller? What would you tell buyers? So, because I think it works from both sides. Sellers aren't going to be successful without the buyers. And obviously, buyers won't have anything to buy without the sellers. So I thought we can just talk a little bit about from both angles. I'm going to start with sellers, but please throw it in the chat if you guys have new advice to new sellers, or even advice to existing sellers, any sellers. Southern Charm hit 1K followers. Congratulations. That is awesome. That feels so good. When you kind of hit that milestone, it feels really good. So that's a big win. So any advice that you have, and I have like a whole list of things here for sellers. I do want to preferences. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. Some of what I say, you might be like, that's pretty cool. I'm going to think about that. Other things you're going to be like, yeah, that's a lot of BS. I'm not going to listen to her. So that's just what I'm preferencing. It's my opinion. You know what they say about opinions. It's a family show, so I'm not going to say what they say, but you know what it is. Let's see. What does Cynthia say? 49th wedding anniversary. And it doesn't have to be whatnot. We talk about life here too. That is awesome, Cynthia. 49 years. That is so great. Congratulations. I said we're about to celebrate 3 years, but this is not our first marriages. So we met each other later in life, and I'm so thankful. I wish I would have met him younger. You say that, but I'm like, I don't know if he would have liked the younger version of me. So yes, happy anniversary. That's amazing. I'm going to take a cup of coffee. Yes, I need another cup. A sip of coffee to make myself slow down a little bit and talk to you guys. So if anybody else has wins for the week, feel free to throw those in the chat. Whatnot life, whatever it may be. We were talking about advice to new sellers. So hi, Panther Pickers. I almost said Panther Pickles. Hello. Texas Sunflower. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning. My biggest piece of advice to sellers, and everything I tell you guys, I try to do, and I don't always do it right or well. We do it the best we can. Good morning, Brandon, Evie. So my advice is make it easy for your buyers. Your job as a seller, in my opinion, your job as a seller is to make it as easy as possible for people to buy from you. Now, I think we need to take a step back before we even go there and talk about what's your why? Why are you on Whatnot? I'm venturing to say most of us are on Whatnot to make some money, whether it's money that you need to pay bills or money for to go do fun stuff or money to save. I'm venturing to say that's probably the top reason. I think some people are on here just to have a social connection, and there's nothing wrong with that. But considering probably most of us are here to make money, then you should probably treat it as a business to some degree. And that's the point of view that I have and where I come at Whatnot. Good morning, Renewed with Style. Um, is you need to make it as easy for people to buy from you, because if people aren't buying, you're not making money. Bottom line. Um, so making it as easy as possible. What does that look like? It starts before your show even starts. It starts with having a good thumbnail. And when I say good, it doesn't mean like you have to go and pay money and get an expert to create the perfect thumbnail. Um, just having something that's recognizable. I'm going to talk about branding throughout this because I think branding is huge. Um, and if you go look at my thumbnails, not all of them follow this rule. I did for the longest time. I'm starting to stray a little bit, so I need to reel myself back in. But do you have a logo, or do you have something that symbolizes you and your business on Whatnot? Make sure that's in your thumbnail somewhere. Make sure that every single show, that when people are scrolling, they can instantly recognize you. Because once somebody buys from you one time and they had a great experience, they're going to want to easily be able to find your shows. Granted, they could type your name in the chat, but people are visual. And when they're scrolling, they want to know, quickly find the shows that they recognize and they're familiar with. It's a comfort thing. We do things by human nature. People sometimes don't want to go and venture out and look at a bunch of new sellers. They're going to find a group of sellers that they're really comfortable with and they really like. So make it easy for the people to find you. That's number one. Um, and then make it easy to bookmark your shows. Have more than one show put out there. You don't need to have, 50, 60 shows, but have a few. Have for the next week or so. Um, Evie, so true. She's a big buyer and she does that. So see, there we go from a big buyer saying the same thing, that she, looks for the recognition there, or likes like a group of sellers. Like you get comfortable with somebody. It's just like you think about you in your real life, and a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about is just drawn from either my business or my personal experience of when you go shopping. Yes, I mean, there's new stores, we try different things out, but do you kind of tend to gravitate towards a certain group of stores? It works the same way on Whatnot. So finding a show, having some shows bookmark, or not bookmark, but out there for them to bookmark. Even if they have the notifications turned off in general, they could be notified. That one of the settings is to be notified when somebody that you've bookmarked goes live, or when that bookmark show starts. So um, allowing people to bookmark your shows. So you got to have some shows there for them to do that. And then this is my pet peeve. I'm going to apologize. I may be stepping on toes here. Start on time as much as you possibly can. I cannot believe, it is so mind blowing to me the number of times that I'll look through. Like, I do a lot of Whatnot. I put it on in the background a lot of times when I'm driving or when I'm packing. Um, that um, so I'll look through, like knowing I'm going to be on a drive, and I'll like look, okay, what shows are about to start right now? And it's mind blowing the times where, say, it's 5:38 and there's a bunch of shows that were supposed to start at 5:30. Literally, I can almost every half hour to hour, you can see 4 or 5 shows that aren't starting. Now, this happens, life happens, emergencies happen. There's nothing you can do about that. But in general, start your show on time, because again, we're making it easier for our buyers to buy, right? If you know that you go to Target all the time and Target opens at 9 o'clock on the dot, they don't open at 9:06, 9:07. They open at 9 because that's what their buyers expect. So I'm sorry if I'm stepping on toes, but try to be on time. As a buyer, to me, that's big. Anybody else feel that way? Does anybody else kind of go to see a show and then it's supposed to start at a certain time and you're like, where are they? Where are they? And you're waiting and you're waiting. So yes, Cynthia, yes, a big enthusiastic yes there. Yep, perfect pick. So a few people. So that's a big one. And again, I'm just drives me crazy. Southern Charm drives me crazy. I can't believe the number of times it happens. Um, all right, here's another one. This is my other one. I knew I was going to step on toes today. Let's see what Renewed with Style says. If I know I'm not going to be 100% ready, I'll push it out another 10 minutes on my. Okay, there you go. So if you know you're not going to be ready, reschedule it. To me, I would rather go in and see a show rescheduled, whether it's for, 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, or the next day, than to be waiting and waiting. And it's 5:38, 5:40, and the show's supposed to start at 5:30. And I really want to watch the seller. I've looked through, maybe they've preloaded, and I'm like, I really want to see what's happening in this show. So I'm right there. If you can't do it, reschedule it. How is that different? Think about it from this aspect. Is that any different than if you have a job and you know you're going to be late to your job? Do you just show up late normally, or do you give your boss a call or send him a text? Hey, I'm running 20 minutes behind. It's courtesy. So it's the same thing to your buyers. It's courtesy. Um, Absolutely. Changing the time lets me know you're still going live. Exactly. It still gives me a time to say, oh, okay, well, they've just pushed it back 20 minutes. I'll go do something else and come back rather than be annoyed that it's not starting at all. All right, here's my other thing. And I know I'm apologizing. I may step on some toes. And how I know I'm going to step on toes is that there was a whole Facebook thing. I know, don't get caught up in the Facebook drama. There's groups out there, but occasionally I slip into it and get caught up. And this was one of them. Oh, and you put a message in the chat. That's a great idea. Is it, let me, Melby. Melby, that's a good idea. So Melby says, in addition to rescheduling your show, put a message in the chat. That's great. So if they open it up, they see it right there. Love that idea. Never thought to do that. So, okay, here's the thing. It was on Facebook. This is what kind of made me think about it. I'm like, how true? And I got attacked when I gave an answer. This is a business. Treat it like a business. If you're here to make money, it's a business. Don't show up in your pajamas. At least put clothes on. I don't care what clothes. You don't have to be dressed like you're going to a business meeting. You don't have to be dressed like you're going to, some fancy restaurant. But at least put some clothes on. Honestly, I don't want to see you in your bathrobe. That's my opinion. If that's what makes you comfortable and how you sell, more power to you. But I mean, Southern Charm, thank you for agreeing. Just wear some clothes. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be fancy. You know what my clothes of choice are? What I normally wear? Sweats or leggings and a t-shirt. That's about the level of dressed up. At least wear clothes. Again, go back to being a business, and you're making your customers, making it easy and making them feel welcome, right? It doesn't matter what level of welcome. They could be Walmart welcome or Target welcome or Nordstrom's welcome. You set that tone. You're creating that environment. You're creating that space for them. So come presentable. You don't have to curl your hair, maybe run a brush through it. You don't have to curl your hair. You don't have to put a face full of makeup. A lot of that stuff people don't care about. But put some clothes on. Wonder what they are trying to sell. Texas sunflower, you just hit on one of my biggest points. My husband told me not to talk about this. He's like, you're going to make so many people mad. Don't say that. I'm going to say it because that's me. I say stuff makes people mad. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of filter going on. So Texas Sunflower says, some shows I have seen, I wonder what they are trying to sell. You're probably saying that because maybe their bathrobe's hanging out a little too far. Yep. But also think about it like this. I have nothing against scan shows. And scan shows are huge in popularity, and a lot of people love scan shows because they like to see. They don't want to be shown one item at a time. They like to see a bunch of items and pick from those items. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I am not against those shows. But run stuff. Run things. Don't just keep asking me, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want me to run? Do you want me to run something? Tell me if you want me to run something. Do you go into a department store? Again, we're going back to the concept of making it easier for your buyer, right? We're creating an environment for them to buy. Do you go into any store in the mall and they just have one thing hanging on a rack with salesmen walking around saying, do you want me to put a price tag on this for you? Do you want me to go pull out other sizes from the back? Do you want me to take it out of the box and show you what this product is? No, they make it easy. They have it ready for you to buy. You can't sell something if you're not running it. So again, nothing against scan shows, but pick stuff up and run it while you're doing it, no matter what it is. And I mean, scan, let people tell you, but think about it like this. There's a lot of people. Hold on, I got to read the chat. Let's get caught up on the chat before. So Southern Charm says she'll not stay in those shows. Cynthia says, I really don't like having to ask to see something and then hear it's way over my budget. It's uncomfortable. Exactly, because then you're put on the spot. You feel like, if you see something, you see this beautiful piece of pottery. Oh, I'm going to run this for $500. And you're like, oh, no, thank you. It's you don't want to do that. Speaking of, see this pottery? Thrifty Drew Nicole, I just bought this from her. I'm super excited about it. Isn't it gorgeous? It's going to go in my collection. Let's see what other. If you run it, if you touch it, run it. I said that backwards. Exactly. People can't buy if you're not running something. Just run it. I don't care if it's something I want. Jen, I'll come right back to your question there. A lot of people are putting Whatnot on in the background. So you're going to think about all the different ways your buyers are engaging with Whatnot. Because again, your job as a seller is to make it easy for them to buy, right? So all the different ways they're engaging. Some people listen to Whatnot in the background. I do it all the time when I'm shipping. I'll put Whatnot on, find a show, leave it while I'm shipping. I'm listening. I'm not always watching the screen because I'm busy packing my stuff, but I'm listening. And if I just hear, tell me what you want, do you want this? Do you want me to run this? I'm never looking at my screen. But if I hear, hey, I've got this beautiful mug and it's teal, and in my head's going, ooh, I like teal, I like coffee. And then I'm looking at the screen, you're drawing me in. And then you're gonna run it. I'm not gonna stop and ask you to run something, but if I know you're running something that's up my alley, I'm gonna be ready to swipe 9 times out of 10. They're creating a rap song. I must have missed some chat here. Oh, they're creating a rap song by going, what do you want? Show me what you want. Good morning. Let's go back real quick. I'm going to answer this one question, then we'll talk more about making it easy for buyers. So how long have you been selling on Whatnot? I started, my very first show was November of 23, November or December of 23. But then I kind of took a break. I started a show or two. It went terrible. My first show, thank God it's not still there. Like you cannot see it anywhere because it was embarrassing. I did sell one thing. I didn't even realize I sold something. I never thanked the person. It was a mess. So then I stopped and I really picked it up strong in January of 24. So just over a year. So a year and 4 months, year and 5 months now. That's how long I've been on Whatnot. I've been doing reselling for a bit longer than that. All right, so we are talking about creating an atmosphere for your buyers, making it easy for people to buy from you. And that starts from before your show all the way through to the end of the shipping. Let's see, Mel B says, I had someone take me to their shower so they wouldn't miss the show. Okay, guilty. I have Whatnot on in the bathroom when I'll take a shower if I want to listen. Sometimes I just listen to chat shows and I just want to hear what's going on. I'll put chat shows on while I'm out for a run. So I'll throw it on my phone and I'm running. I like it because it's not the same old music I listen to all the time. And it's that variation. I never know what they're going to talk about. So, and I have stopped to run. Sometimes I'll listen to regular shows while I'm running, and I have stopped mid-run to take a look at an item they're describing. But I'm just sometimes I can be a little extra. So, all right. So we talked about scan shows, making it easier for your buyers. Excuse me. Lighting, make sure they can see the item. That's common sense. You think? It's not always in all shows. I was in a show the other day and we don't always get it right. I mean, nobody's perfect. Some days are just bad days. Some days the sun's not cooperating in the space you use. You rely on the sunlight. Sometimes it is what it is. But I was in a show the other day and the seller kept apologizing for their lighting situation. And like you couldn't see, like it was dark. And I left I spent about maybe 5-10 minutes in there. And then I left because I'm like, I really can't see any detail. Like, I don't know if the items broke, ripped. I couldn't tell. And it's like, if you're continuing apologizing, maybe you just need to fix it. Maybe stop the show and fix it. Um, Sounds, we had trouble with our sound this morning. So again, I am not perfect. Things happen to all of us, but try to make it so people can hear you, um, and watch your sounds in the background. I've seen someone literally sell out of their closet pretty much in the dark. Yeah, and then as a buyer, what kind of confidence? Okay, you know what that reminds me of? And I know this is a popular store, but I couldn't buy in there just because of my own personal preference. Like I couldn't see is was it Hollister? Is that the store in the mall that always smelled, had all the perfume smell, and they were always kind of dark. I had, I've raised 4 kids. I've taken them in there to shop, and it's always bothered me every time we go in that store because I don't feel like I can see stuff well enough. I'm trying to catch up on chat. So sounds, be cautious of the background sounds. That's like a big one to people. I know like some of the iPhones have the filters and kind of try to block out some of the sound that's in the background, but some of the stuff I've heard that to me is super annoying. Now I have like sound sensory issues, and that's me. Everybody doesn't have that. Washing machines in the background, that and the clicking constantly. Or I watched a show that they were obviously kind of in an open concept house, and somebody was cooking in the kitchen, like right behind where the camera was. And all you can hear was the banging of the pans and putting it on the stove and mixing something. Like it was breakfast time, as a weekend morning. And it like drove me crazy. The other thing that drives me crazy is I can't personally watch unboxing shows because the rustling of the paper, like the constant rustling of the paper. If it's once or twice, that's fine. But if it's the whole, I have a hard time personally. That one probably doesn't bug as many people. My dogs always have to bark. Yeah, I think Southern Charm, you're the same way. Oh, good. So it's not just me. I think people are a little more forgiving of dogs and kids to an extent. I think people are a lot more forgiving, and cats when they walk across. I think it's just like these other sounds that are more like sounds that you could be a little more have control over, that I think drives people kind of crazy. But speaking of kids, I don't mind if a kid's in the background. Like it doesn't bug me if kids are around. But if there's a little one screaming and crying and mommy, 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 the whole time, it drives me crazy as a mother. If it's my kid going, mommy, mommy, it drives me crazy. Let alone if somebody else's kid is going to drive me even more crazy. Okay, hold on. Honey, are you reading the chat? My husband is downstairs. Can't touch this.
Yes,
My wife gets crazy when I try to eat chips because of the bag sounds. I'm with your wife, 100%. 100% with your wife. I will walk away. My children just know. My kids grew up knowing, do not eat crunchy things next to me. And they'll tell me, they're all like, you eat crunchy stuff. I'm like, it sounds different in my head when I'm eating than when you're eating. Like there is a difference. Oh my gosh, I hope my husband's reading this because like
yes,
it's
I
a
am.
thing. It's
I
a
am.
real thing. That crunchy cereal. Oh, yes. Sounds like Cedra from YouTube. People like the sound, soothing, renewed by style, very soothing. Absolutely. Yeah, like those soft sounds. I love those. Or chew with your mouth open. Oh, Southern Charm. I think we were like long lost sisters or something. Yes. Do not chew like that. I have a big thing too. I know we're way off topic, but we talk about life here too. Gum chewing. Every time my daughter wants gum, I have a 14-year-old. Kids like gum. I'm like, no, I'm not buying you gum because just don't be popping that gum next to me. Yes, my it's either misophonia or misophonia. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I have heard that term before. Exactly. It is 100% real thing. And so think about this with your buyers. Not that you need to cater to everybody, because you know what? Some people are just not going to like you, and that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. Popping gum. Oh, yeah. Pen clicking, all of those things. Just be conscious of some of these things. And you can't control everything. But I know, like, I sell a lot of vintage decor, fine china, stuff clangs, stuff, I just try to be gentle when I set it down. And when I know I'm making noise, I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. I just do the best I can not to make big, loud noises. And I mean, I have the benefit, my husband will tell me too, I do wear a microphone. So sometimes I hold stuff too close and it rubs on the microphone, and he'll point to me and let me know. So yeah, all of those noises, they can really turn buyers off. So we've talked about lighting, we've talked about sounds, we've talked about what you wear, and answered, is there a way for Maud's voice to pop in instead of reading their comments? So oh, I didn't hear him. So he's downstairs in our basement. We have like a little studio set up, and I'm upstairs in our dining room. Um, there is, if they're running the way we are. So moving and grooving. I'd have to have my husband explain that exactly how it works, but basically he runs it through a computer. He has everything hooked up to cameras and runs it through a computer, and he has a microphone and I have a microphone. So that's how he's able to make that work. But just like having a mod somewhere else, like log in on their phone, probably they can't do that. Let's see, the Tickled Goose. I love unboxing shows for the element of the great find, but I don't stay for the pressure of cards and coins. It's constant. That's a good point. So he said he was listening good. Dirty hands or nails. Okay, yes, perfect picks. Dirty hands or nails. So this is something I often wonder about. I've only seen it once or twice, and I think it was in like one of those storage shows, like they found storage units, and the guy himself was a little bit grungy, which I didn't hold against him, but like he looked like his nails shouldn't have been clean. I don't know, like he didn't look like a dirty person, so it didn't bother me in that show. But I can see how that could bother people. I often wonder, does anybody have a preference for women's nails? I never do my nails. It's a sensory thing to me because I've had them done before, but I'll pick at them, so I just don't waste the money because I ruin any manicure I get. Does that bother people if like the women's nails aren't done nice, but as long as they're clean? So I'm trying to catch up here. Lake Erie, I hope I'm saying that. Oh, Lake Erie Vintage is doing her first show, I'm going by the picture, I'm guessing her first show last night. I just scheduled my first show last night. Super nervous. You got this. It's okay. Just talk like you're talking to a friend. We're all friends here. Oh, my husband's answering in the chat. Okay. Oh yeah, selling jewelry with dirty nails. Yeah, that doesn't, again, buyer experience. Would you go into Kay's Diamonds, or Kay's Jewelers is the only jewelry store that comes to my mind right now. But would you walk into that store? They're dressed for their job, right? Which includes their nails, includes their whole appearance. If they had grungy nails and they were showing you something or dirty hands at a jewelry store, you wouldn't buy. Same thing on Whatnot. Like, we are a store. So as long as they're clean, that's pretty much the thing. Southern Charms paints her nails before her shows. Very good. Yeah, I wish I could. And that's the one thing I always wonder. Like, at first I tried to get manicures, and then I was like, I'm ruining them. I just waste my money on them. What are my sales goals for Whatnot? So I have different sales goals depending on my shows. So I set various goals, whether it be a number or a dollar figure. And the actual number doesn't really matter in general to people. I mean, it matters to me, but I would just general advice on setting goals. Where are you now? I would look at your past few shows. If you've done a few shows, see where you're at. If you sell 10 items a show, maybe the goal is 15, or maybe you're making $50 a show and now your goal is $100 a show. Mine change over time as I grow, as I change what I'm selling, as I change the way I'm selling or the type of things, the way I deliver a show. So right now I usually have a dollar amount. But I don't just, Whatnot's not my only platform. So I have other platforms I sell on. So I have goals more for like as a business overall, like I need to make X dollars a month to cover, set expenses, shipping supplies, whatever it may be. Let's see. So I use my fingers and hands too much to have my nails in great shape, but clean hands are a must. That's how I feel. I'm with you there, moving and grooving. Listening to sellers get mad at low prices, but they chose 100% can't touch this, 100%. You're a seller. You control your starting bid. If you want to sell for $1, sell for $1, but don't be mad. Do not be mad that item went for $1. You chose to do that. That would be like, I don't know, choosing to wear too small of shoes and complaining you got blisters. That's your own fault. Like, and that's a business decision. I luckily I have never been in a show where people are yelling. I have heard all about these shows, but I think it's more in different categories that I probably don't tend to frequent, about sellers yelling and bid it up, chat, bid it up, swipe, 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 and oh, you can't let it go for that low. Really? My gosh, I don't think there'd be anything that'd make me leave the show faster than that. Like, besides somebody like chewing with their mouth open, making noise. I would be out of there so fast. Again, it's about your buyer. Why are you trying to alienate a buyer? Like, I don't get that attitude. Yes, yeah. Okay, cool. So everybody's saying you don't have to paint. You don't have to paint pretty nails. People notice and they like them, but you don't have to as long as they're clean. Some buyers do like those shows. They do Jen's deals. I've read that and heard that some buyers just go in. They love to be yelled at. You know what? You know what that proves? There's somebody for everybody. There's an audience for every seller. So there are buyers. There's your tribe out there. So I think I'm going to stick to my belief of making a good environment, making it as easy as possible for my buyers. So some of the other ways, what did we talk about? Hold on real quick. Can't touch me. Big streamers with over 1K normally are the screamers and talk down to customers, especially if the payment fails. And so I just don't get it. I don't know. I'm like at a loss for words. I just don't. It goes against everything in me to treat somebody like that in a show. I do want to go back and touch on the selling things for a price that you want really quick. Collectively, how much time in a week do you spend buying and preparing inventory as well as sending purchases and doing shows? Oh, too much. Too much. No, a lot. So I work full time, so my time is limited. I have a 9-to-5 job. And I have a child that's involved in sports 6 days a week, where 7 some weeks are driving to practices and such. So I have a limited amount of time, but pretty much all my free time goes to Whatnot and the other sites, so to run my business. So probably for a show, let's talk about just a curated show. So every Saturday, usually I do a curated show. It's usually around a theme. This weekend, it's going to be on Sunday because cheer competition on Saturday. So I'm doing French country decor. I'll probably spend 2 to 3 hours in photographing, listing, making sure I've got all the items, cleaning them, getting stuff ready for the show. The sourcing part, I'm constantly sourcing. That's just any chance I get. If I take my daughter to a sporting thing and there's a thrift store or an antique mall I can go to while she's in her sporting thing, I go do that. Or I sit on my phone and I'm going through auctions. So I'm constantly sourcing. That's just kind of like something that's going on in the background on a daily basis. Then after a show, so you do your show, I usually don't run shows for more than about an hour and a half. We can talk about timing in a minute. And then I estimate for every hour of my show, I have double that for packing. So if I run an hour show, I have at least 2 hours of packing, sometimes more. Part of that depends on what you sell. Most of what I sell, 99% is breakable stuff. So it takes me a little bit longer to pack it because I need to make sure it's bubble wrapped appropriately. So it gets to people in one piece. If you sell t-shirts or cards or coins, things that aren't breakable, it's a little bit easier and faster to pack. I do work full time. I do. Now, Southern Charm, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We try our best to pack. Let's touch on this. Packing is part of your buyer's experience. I'm making it easy for them, and then I want them to be happy at the end of the day. If I send a bunch of broken stuff, nobody's going to come back and buy from me. Now, if you regularly buy from me and you get stuff and it's great, and every once in a blue moon it comes broken, it's easier to say, you know what? 9 times out of 10, she packs really great. I have no idea why this item broke. They'll still be happy. And that's our goal, is just to make sure our buyers get something in one piece. But the USPS, you can't control the post office. And I know that, so we try to USPS proof our packages. It's not always possible. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Where were we? And you work full time. Yes, we work full time, but I'm hoping that that not that I can quit my full-time job. I'll do this till I retire, but that this will turn into kind of my retirement thing, like my retirement income eventually. So I like to have it now. It helps pay for all those sports I keep talking about my daughter is in, so it does help with some of my extras. Um, but it is totally possible to do whatnot and have a full-time job. Now I work at home, so it does make it a little bit easier because I have that flexibility. I don't have to like drive to an office, have somebody looking over my shoulder for 8 to 10 hours, and then drive home. So, you know, sometimes I think that does make it easier. My daughter did competition and it was expensive. Yes. A little off topic. Any cheer moms in here? Cheer moms or dads? Oh, cheer's an expensive sport. Them skimpy little costumes they wear, cost our cheer outfits, they're like $800, and there's almost not bikini material there. Um, oh, my husband saying yes, and it pays for my collections. Yes, my pottery. I have a pottery obsession. Um, but that okay, good point though. Bringing this up, this was another point about making your Yes, absolutely. Sports definitely is worth the investment. Any type of sports, not just cheer and dance, but all of them. In my personal opinion, it's well worth it for the kids, as long as the kids are into it. Like I don't, if they don't like it, everybody's just going to be miserable. But here's another point for as a seller and creating that buying experience. Think about it like that. It's a buying experience. What's in your background? You don't have to have a fancy background. You don't have to have something super expensive. But is it kind of cleaned up? I've seen a seller or two that I swear they're hoarders. Like literally they're in a house and all you can see in the background is mounds and mounds of stuff, and it creeps me out because I'm like, I don't want to buy from that. Like when I see houses like that, I think roaches and mice and yuck. So what's in your background? Let me catch up on chat real quick. Worth the investment. I would love for someone to make a video of them actually weighing and boxing the item up in a neat way. You know what? Maybe we'll do that. I've been starting to do YouTube, a lot of YouTube stuff. Maybe we'll make one of those. There is, you know what? Who has a really good video on shipping is the Hodgepodge place. If anybody in the chat, or maybe if my husband can do that, tag the Hodgepodge place. She does great shipping videos. She has a YouTube channel under the same name, and she has a really good shipping video. She also does talk shows. I want to say Tuesday. I'm not 100% sure it's Tuesday. It's either Tuesday or Thursday. There you go. See, they did band and now they're a music teacher. She isn't Hodge awesome? Oh, good. So you did see him. A day in the life of whatnot. There you go. I started to do something like that because I've been trying to like up my Instagram game. Here's the problem. I'm old. Like literally every idea I come up with for Instagram, my daughter's like, oh, that's cheesy. That's cheesy, mom. And I'm like, what else? But I started to do like, wouldn't people like to see like little clips throughout the day of what my day looks like? She's like, nobody wants to know what your day looks like. I'm like, okay. Nothing like being roasted by your 14-year-old first thing in the morning. Let's see. Has a whole packing and shipping playlist about a little over an hour. There you go. Worth watching. Definitely. Okay. I'm going to keep talking. I think I'm caught up on chat. I'm going to keep going on my list here. Let me find I had some notes. We're talking about making a buying experience. So shipping, yeah, that's definitely a buying experience. Branding. I talked about branding at the beginning, about having some type of logo or something that is associated with you. Remember my audience, very good point. Yes, my audience is probably not the 14-year-olds. They're probably not the ones buying vintage decor. But branding in everything you do. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go spend a ton of money and have a big old sign with your name on the back. But when your buyers get a package, do they know who that package comes from? Besides a return address on the label, do they know? Do they clearly know, hey, that's one of Zoey's Treasures packages? So I think it's highly important to not only have branding on the front end, have branding on the back end, and something in the middle. What ties you to? What's unique about your show? What is it? Do you have a catchphrase, or do you Do you show something in a certain way? Do you make jokes? Do you sing? Or do you just, are you mellow? Do you have really cool music? Like, what is it? What is it about your show, that ties everything together? So having that branding on the back end, we're going to talk packing slips in a second. I'd love to hear what you say. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up words not right in my mouth. Okay. Oh, they're talking. Everybody in the chat is like recommending some different sellers. Please follow them. This is great advice. Different sellers. Let's see. My favorite morning seller is John Clutch, and he is known as Breakfast King with his logo, and his personality is amazing. See, that's how you recognize him. So what's your thing? What's your thing as a seller? Mine is ducks. A lot of people come to my show know we have little fun duck graphics, and then I put a little duck in the package. But I also make sure on the outside of every one of my packages, I have a sticker. Then it costs me a lot. I print them on my thermal printer. It says Xoey's Treasures right there. There's a sticker on every package. I usually put some type of postcard or some type of something inside the package so they know it's from me. Why do I do that? Because I want them to remember. Some people buy a lot of stuff on Whatnot, like a lot. Some people are getting packages every single day. And I want them to remember when they open mine and they're happy with the packing and they're happy with the item. Oh yeah, Xoey's Treasures. I want to go back and watch her show again. That's what I want my buyers to experience. Let's see. Are sellers supposed to send slips and packages? I was trying to keep. Okay, there is no requirement. So this is Chris, the Thrifty Nurse. There is no requirement to send packing slips in the packages. It is solely a seller's preference on whether they do it or not. And there is no right or wrong whether they do it or not. I personally do it. I didn't at first. For the first few months on Whatnot, I did not, because I was trying to save money. It becomes expensive. Think of it about it from a seller's perspective. Those labels aren't cheap. So it does present a cost to your business. I eventually started to do it mainly because people started to buy more than one item from me, and I started to think through it from a buyer's experience. If I buy more than one item, I don't always remember. I don't want to have to go back and dig in my Whatnot list and see what I bought. As a seller, I want to make it easy for you, the buyer. So I find it particularly helpful now that I do random poll shows twice a week, because it doesn't have a description. It just says random poll number 1 or vintage goodie number 1, number 2, number 3. That doesn't mean anything. How do you know if that's a vase or a bowl or a this or a that? So I do it now. And I have probably now for I don't know, 8 or 9 months consistently, because I feel it's part of the experience for my buyer and it makes it easier for them. I would love to hear other people's thoughts as sellers and buyers. Do you do it? Do you not do it? Why or why not? Let me catch up. Decami, this seller says, I always put a special item for first-time buyers. Great idea. It's part of that buying experience, right? Or that whole experience you're creating. I usually will do a coupon for first-time buyers. So I usually have a special coupon that I'll put in there for first-time people, and then I have coupons for returning buyers. And think about it like this, because here's another point. I'm like squirrel today. I'm all over the place. Buyers giveaways. We're going to talk about those. But putting something in for your first-time buyers, I do 2 different coupons because I like to track it. I can easily go into my coupons and see how many first-time buyer coupons were used or returning buyers, and that kind of helps me know if people are returning, if they're using them. Let's see. Okay, oh, look at custom design logos. So you guys look up in the chat there. We're putting ways to get custom design logos. Yes, so Cynthia says she can print the packing slip on her regular printer, which is more effective than using 5 of the thermal labels. And I own an estate sale company. I do live sales. I have generic inventory. My packing slips are not helpful to them, but they could be. And again, it's up to you whether you use them or not. There's no right or wrong. So even if you sell generic inventory, they could be helpful. That's what I was just saying. In my random shows, the items just say random number 1, random number 2, random number 3. But then what I do, you have to label that somewhere, right? When you hold an item up, you're like, you're at an estate sale, you're like, hey, check this out. This is a really cool pottery bowl. Oh, thank you, Bob. You just bought this. And you put it down and you go on to the next item. You have to label that somehow, right? You do something so you know later on when you're shipping that this goes to Bob. Whatever that label is that you use, stick it on the label when you package it. At least that's how I do it. So we'll put, either I handwrite the number and stick it, or my husband will print a little label and it actually shows their name and the number. And then that, once I wrap that up and bubble wrap it and get it all in plastic wrap, that little sticker goes on the outside of that item. So then when my customer opens up their box, they have 3 or 4 different things. And while it might not say pottery bowl, it'll say item number 1, 2, 10, whatever their items were, and that matches their packing list. So they can look at their packing list and say, okay, yeah, I got these 4 or 5 items. Here they are right here. So they can match them up. So you could do it. Let's see, I buy the resale, so I like to have the packing slips. A lot of people like them. Yep. We're getting a lot of people like them as from a buyer's perspective. We have another question. Is there a way to have multiple shops or categories within my profile or shop? As an estate liquidator, my inventory can... If anybody knows the answer, if it's different than what I'm giving, please correct me. I have not found a way to do this and whatnot. I have children's books along with vintage decor, and they are not, I cannot keep them separate. I have one inventory. I don't know if you can set up multiple selling profiles. That's one of the questions I do not know. I'd have to go look up, and I will look it up and touch on it again next week. That would be one way to do it, but I'm not sure if it's possible on whatnot. I know you can have a selling profile and then you can have another profile like as a buyer so that you have different names. I know you can do that. I don't know if you can have 2 like completely separate selling profiles, or if you would want to, because then it's like you have to create 2 audiences. You know, you have to like build yourself up twice. But what you can do, what I do to keep my books and my regular inventory separate in my big inventory list and whatnot, is I number everything, and normally I'll put a B in front of the number for books, so then I can filter. I can just use the filter and filter for B. Is it perfect? No. It's a little cumbersome. Yes. But that's one way to do it. Let's see. Beck's bins. I think the more important for crafting sellers to use, I think it's more important for crafting sellers to use if they have inventory. Absolutely. Crafting sellers. Yeah. So we have a lot of people always print the packing slip. A lot of people like the packing slips, different ways to make it work, whether it's printing on regular paper, thermal paper. Some people think, we don't need them. Yeah, so same thing at first, you're printing them, but there are 3. That's what I thought at first too, and then I changed my mind. It's really what do you want to create for your buyers? It's really about, does it work for you? Trying to catch up. You guys are talking. Yay. I love it when you guys are talking in chat. I set up a couple shows to sell my yarn stash and set up shows for vintage decor, which is all I do after get done cleaning out the yarn. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, you can do that. You can sell in different categories, and then you only sell that. Like, I never put my children's books into my vintage decor shows. I just don't think they are. Which brings me to another point as a seller. If you say you're selling something, for the most part, try to stick to that. Like, don't advertise a vintage decor show and then just sell jewelry. Because as a person who wants to go buy vintage decor, it's a little frustrating. I'm not a jewelry person. A lot of people have jewelry, nothing against jewelry. That's not my thing. And if I wanted to go see a jewelry show, I'm going to look for one that's advertised as jewelry. That doesn't mean you can't mix a little bit in there. There's nothing wrong with a mix here or there, especially if somebody asks for it. But what if you wanted t-shirts and you go into a show that's advertising women's clothing and all they're selling is kids clothing, and you're like, oh, I was going to shop for me, I didn't want to shop for my kid. It's that same kind of concept. Try, for the most part, and I think this is like a 95% rule, most of your stuff should fit within whatever it is that you advertised. So I sell vintage decor for the most part. Every now and then I have something contemporary, and it's okay. You just don't misrepresent it. I show it. I'm like, I don't quite think this is vintage. It's probably about 5 to 10 years old, and it's okay. Um, Not a jewelry person either. Let's see, my Liz just started crocheting. Oh, there you go. So what else do we've talked about shipping, packaging, um, and follow up with your customers. So I am not suggesting, because there is no way I would ever have time to personally send messages to every single one of my customers, but we do try to keep an eye on, are things getting delivered? And I'm not like tracking every package, because this can be super time consuming, but every now and then flip through your list. Does everything show delivered? Cool. If a customer messages you, answer the message. Again, you're creating a complete buying experience for them. People at my 9 to 5, they make fun of me. I am not an Aldi fan. I am sorry if you guys like Aldi, it is not my thing. It goes back to the buying experience. And I put it, and I describe it as that. And they told me I was bougie because of this, because I described it as an experience. But that's what it is. What? I know, terrible. I don't like Aldi. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my place. Here's why. I want an experience. I want a grocery. It's not the grocery shopping experience that I want. I don't want to pay for my cart. I don't want to bag my own groceries. I want a lot of selection. It's not the experience I want. I want a shopping experience like Publix, where they hand me my cart and say, here you go, ma'am, here's your shopping cart. Okay, what kind of experience do you want to create for your buyer? And there's going to be buyers out there, everybody has their tribe, that want that experience. And that's one of the things that makes Whatnot so great. If you want to be yelled at, we've already established, if you want to be yelled at, there's people who's going to yell at you. If you want nice, soft, calm, there's those sellers. If you want energetic, fast, fun, ones that you can laugh at, there's those sellers. So it's, what experience are you creating? The ceiling feels too high in our Aldi, not gonna lie. No reason why they don't do is to save the customer the bottom. Absolutely, they do it for a reason, is they offer low prices, and you can get a lot of groceries at a more reasonable cost. I get that. And there's nothing wrong with the store. I'm not like knocking on them. It's just not my cup of tea, and that's okay. Hey, yes, Cynthia, you don't have to pay for your cart in my lives. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that. I so totally want to use that. I'm probably going to quote you one of these days. I will give you credit. Oh, and they'll give you, I did not know they'll give you your quarter back. It makes me sound really cheap. I can afford a quarter. It's not that I can't afford the quarter. It's a concept to me. It's a buying experience. And maybe I'm just old school. Maybe that's it. I like an experience. You can also return things like 90 days in the door of your car. Hey, look, I know I'm the outlier here. I know I'm the weird one for not liking them. I get it all the time. My kids love them. Like I said, my 9 to 5, like my group of people I work with on my 9 to 5, it is a constant source of like ragging on me because of my preference there. That's okay. I can handle that. Let's talk about from the buyer side of this. So we've spent quite a while now talking, how do you make a experience for your buyer? Buyers, what about you when you come to a show? What are your responsibilities, or what do you do, or what's the advice for buyers? So if anybody has advice for buyers, put it in the chat. I had a couple of points, because I think buyers have the easy end of the deal. You show up, you spend your money, right? That's the easy part. But I think mine, and I'm probably biased from a seller's perspective here, so keep that in mind. Sellers should schedule at least 10 shows in advance. Yeah, I think you should have a handful out there. You need something for people to bookmark. But my advice for buyers is bid responsibly. I have that in my show notes. Perfect example. I was watching a show yesterday. Was it a raid train? I think it was a raid train. I was watching a show yesterday, and the seller had a really cool item, and I try to be a little generic because I don't want to call people out. So I'm trying not to give too much specifics. Okay, real quick. Bee's Closet. You got muted because you said the P word, but it's okay. Setting up an allotted Whatnot fund and have a prepaid the card, I could say PayPal card. Um, they don't like whatnot. Will red chat you, mute words if you say certain things, but you didn't say anything bad. Um, okay, I prefer, so as a buyer, Robin's Carolina Vintage Decor says, I prefer a curated show with a full store. So as a buyer, we can scan the shelf. Shows make me crazy. Um, so let me get back to the story really quick. So I was watching this seller on a raid train. She had this really cool item, very popular item, and it had a ton of pre-bids on it. And they were pretty high. Like there must have been, I don't know, 8 or 9 pre-bids, had really bid this item up before it even ran. And then all of a sudden, somebody put a pre-bid in, messaged her privately, but she was talking about it. So like everybody else was kind of figuring out what was going on. Messaged her privately saying, I typed in the wrong number. My pre-bid was way too high. Probably put an extra 1, made it in the hundreds or thousands or something. Can you fix it? Okay, so as a seller, there's no way for us to fix it. The only way to fix that is to cancel the item, like delete it and put it back in. Then you lose all your pre-bids. So it put this seller in a really bad spot because the buyer wasn't being responsible in their bidding. And mistakes happen. I forgive mistakes. We all do. It put the seller in a bad spot. Here she is on a limited time on a raid train. She has all these pre-bids. She's seeing her item get bid up. And now she's like, oh. And you could see that dilemma. You saw, like visibly watching her, you saw this dilemma going on. She ended up canceling it. She like deleted the item, put it back in the meantime, she's apologizing. I'm sorry, but we're going to do what's right for this person. They bid too much. I don't want them to pay $1,000 for this, whatever. She put the item back in and then ran it. Ultimately, it sold for only half of what those pre-bids were. That really wasn't cool to the seller. However, she did the right thing for the buyer. I mean, it's this dilemma. It's like this, what do you do, right? But at the end of the day, it sold for less than what those pre-bids were. Some of the people who put pre-bids in weren't even in the room to bid on it the second time when she had to delete it and put it back in. And part of the beauty as a pre-bid is you could put a pre-bid in and leave the room. If you can go into a show, see something you want, pre-bid on it and leave the room and still end up winning the item if your pre-bid's high enough for that item. So it was just, I really felt for her. Now the buyer, I got to give the buyer credit in this instance. The buyer realized that it went way low and ended up tipping the seller. So that was really nice. That was a very kind gesture on the buyer's part because they kind of saw what happened. But it kind of just goes back to that bid responsibly because it like puts everybody in this weird spot. But not only did it affect the seller, it affected the other buyers who were pre-bidding on this item. Let's see. Let's read some of the notes on here. You can edit and get rid of the pre-bids. Yes, you can. If you edit an item after it has pre-bids on it, it will delete your pre-bids. So let's see. Yeah, it did. I really felt bad for her. I mean, she was in a dilemma, and you can see she was really trying to do what was right. The seller was. But at the same time, we're selling because we want to make money, right? So Robin's Carolina Vintage says, her show notes, no cancellations, be responsible in bidding. And I say the same thing. I put there's no cancellations, be responsible. Every now and then, I mean, if it's a true mistake, I'm going to forgive it. I'm not like this terrible person. But you've got to understand what your actions are doing, like how they affect not just the seller, but the other buyers in the room. As a buyer, pre-bid and forget is a great way to score items. Yep. Bad part about no cancellation will lead to bad reviews out of spite. Yes. I work under a no cancellation policy. However, I try to be empathetic when the situation calls for it. I do think if someone's going to leave you a bad review out of spite, we do have the ability to answer our reviews now. I wish you could do it on the computer and not just on the phone. That's whatnot. If you're listening, we need to be able to answer reviews on the computer. I can't, I just don't function on my phone very well. But so you could make a reply. Yeah, I mean, you run the risk of it. As a buyer, if I'm going into somebody's show and they have a 4.95 and there's 1 or 2 bad reviews, but everything else says they're great, I'm probably just going to overlook it. I'm probably like, okay. If I see a ton of bad reviews, I'm going to start to be, cautious. What else am I missing in chat? Oh, a tactic. It could be. I mean, I like to try to take the perspective of thinking that everybody comes with a good heart, but that is not always the case. We do know that people are scammers. So Natural State of High says we have to be aware that it could be a tactic that buyers use to get rid of pre-bids on something they want. So yep, keep that in mind. And you could see that, like, those type of thoughts are probably going through that seller's head. Depends on the situation. Yeah. Let's see, Fern's Attic. I'm ready to schedule my first show, but where do people find to create these great thumbnails besides a picture of your items? I use Canva. So there's a lot of different ways out there, but I know Canva is a really popular one. It's an easy software to use. They have a free version, and the pro version is like $14, $15 a month, which to me I find is a reasonable cost. So check that out. Canva is a good way to get thumbnails. This is a good question. I'm just posing to the chat because I'm curious. When you see thumbnails, I already said I think you should have some branding. You should have some logo somewhere there so people to recognize you. But do you like thumbnails that are creative pictures or thumbnails that show pictures of what is in the show? I almost never do what's in the show. Let's see. We have other people that use Canva. Yep, free version. Absolutely. So Natural State of High said, you want to keep an eye out if the same person keeps on claiming that they fat fingered the numbers. Definitely. I have never, my whole time on Whatnot, I have never blocked anybody yet. I tend to shy away from blocking people. Now, if you come in and you're a troll, absolutely, and I know you're a troll, you're getting blocked right away. I try not to block people. But if you continue to do that, like show that behavior over and over again, I would probably block you. Thankfully, I haven't experienced it yet. I use my company logo, one pick all the time, branding. Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Something for them to recognize you by over and over again. It's never, rarely do what's in the show due to palette inventory. It's ever changing. That's kind of how I feel. By the time I put all the time into sourcing, cleaning, preparing, curating the shows for the ones that I do like pre-list everything for, it's almost too late. Like, I want a thumbnail up there a lot longer. Why don't I block people? For me, it's a personal preference. One, I've never had anybody in my show that I felt needed to be blocked. Like, just because, I've had one or two people maybe that weren't the nicest people. But that doesn't mean they need to be blocked. Like, and again, think about it from the buyer's experience, that whole experience I've been talking about creating. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe it's by chat. I'm not talking to these people live. I don't see their facial expressions. I don't see their body language. Maybe I'm reading their chat wrong. Maybe I'm inferring something because I'm not seeing the full language. Like, we're used to seeing body language.
Thank you.
They see mine. Obviously, I'm on video, but I don't know in the chat when they say something and maybe they think they're making a joke and I'm like, oh, why are you being sarcastic? I don't, maybe that's not what they intended. So I don't block people as a standard practice just because I don't think there's a need to. However, that's because I've been really lucky. If somebody comes in and they're rude to my chat, they're absolutely, unequivocally, there's no question that that's what's happening. They're getting blocked. I just feel that I've been very fortunate and not had to experience that yet. Hello, if you guys are just coming in, I haven't got to welcome you. We've been busy answering chat here. Let's see, Donna says, I just had my second show this morning. I need to help figure out how to run items that are not preloaded. Do you have to save the wait listing in inventory first? So the way I do it, there's different ways to do this. And if you watch different shows, you'll see sellers doing this in different ways. Yep, and the Sassy Vintage Chick answered you there. So you can use one temporary listing. I like to, I'll usually label mine random item or vintage goodie. I do a general weight. I do a weight that's kind of going to encompass the majority of the items I'm selling. And then you can edit that weight as you go. So you're about to run the item, you can do a quick edit, change the weight, and run the item. Or you can just leave it and run it kind of at that general weight. I wouldn't recommend doing just one item at a general weight until you have more experience. I do pay for shipping most shows. There is a certain amount of shipping I do pay for. I don't change my weight because I like to keep the flow of my show going. I feel it slows me down. Not that I do super fast shows, but I do like a general like cadence to my show. You can have multiple listings. You can have like random item number 1 and it weighs, 6 ounces. Random item number 2 is the 6 to 8. Random item number 3 is the 1 pound. And then maybe you have number 4 is a 1 to 2 pound, depending on what you're selling. And then you just pick the right item. Depending on what you pick up to sell, you pick which random item matches that weight category and you run it like that. The big thing, change the quantity. Oh yeah, I need to have changed the quantity. That is my biggest thing. If you've ever been in my show, I forget to do that all the time. I'll have something in multiple quantities and I put it in for one and I'm like, okay, there goes my listing. Let me do this again. Whatnot does not charge for the use of the platform. You do pay commission. So we'll touch on fees really quick. You pay 8% on everything you sell. So as a buyer, you come in, it's free to you. You don't have to pay anything. As a seller, as long as you haven't sold anything, it's free to you. When you sell something, they charge 8% commission on everything except for coins and technology, electronics. Coins and electronics are different commission. I've never sold in those, so I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I want to say 4%, but don't quote me on that. But actually, I just did a whole thing about fees on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Same name. There it goes. My husband's putting it on the top of the screen for you. So 8% commission on everything you sell. Then, and the 8% is on the sales price. So I sold something for $10. That 8% is on that $10. Then it's a 2.9 processing fee. That's on the total sale. The sale price, the $10, the shipping, and the tax. So you add all those together, that 2.9% of that gets taken off as a fee, as a processing fee. And then on top of that, 30 cents for every transaction. So those are the 3 things. There's 3 different components to the fees that are taken off when you sell something. And that's what they are. Check out that YouTube video. I kind of explain it. And I actually walk through 2 different examples. But from a selling perspective, real quick, I'm going to touch on this. The way that the fees work, it encourages sellers to encourage your buyers to buy more than one item in a show. Because when you think about it, that first item they buy, say it's a 1 pound item, they're going to pay $9.21 for shipping. Okay. Your 2.9%, the 8% never changes. The 8% on the sales price. Your 2.9 is calculated on the sales price, the shipping, and the tax, right? If they've already paid shipping on their first item, now you're on item number 2, and they don't have shipping anymore, that's a 0. That 2.9 becomes less. So you can sell 2 $10 items. Your first item is $10, your second item is $10 to the same person and make more on the second item because the 2.9 is calculated less. So I explained that if you go to the YouTube, I actually put numbers down and it shows it piece by piece. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? I sell things on the fly and it's all over the place. Don't have time to set up depending on the home condition and quality items. I have thousands. Okay. You can always run random items. Those shows are fun. I actually used to never do it and then saw how much people were enjoying that thrill. It's like, you don't know what's coming as a buyer. And this is part of creating your experience for your buyers. They don't know what's next. And there's some people who love that. It's like the lottery. It's like this game of, oh, what are they going to pull out next? So those shows are wildly popular and very popular with a whole group of buyers. And that's part of the reason I switched, where I do some curated shows. My Saturday shows are always curated. We're actually tonight introducing for the first time a new type of Friday night show that is curated. But then I do my Monday and Wednesday mornings. I'll put a handful of items in there from the bin, like I'll list them, but the rest is all random because people like it. Yep, that thrill of whatever's coming next is wildly popular. As a buyer, what do you guys prefer? Do you like a mix? Do you have a preference for one or the other? I like you have set days for what to sell. Okay, so this goes back to again the buying experience. This is thinking through your business plan or your business model. Um, so Southern Charm says she likes a mix, some pre-listed, some randoms. Um, One, it helps me know what I'm doing when, um, but it also helps my buyers know what to expect. So as buyers become familiar with me, they know on Monday and Wednesday mornings, Zoe's Treasures is going to be on there doing random polls for $1. They know that. Our Friday night show tonight is a new one, so tonight's the first night. Come check it out. But eventually, it takes a little bit of time. People will start to say, "Oh yeah, Friday nights," and then Saturdays I know is curated. So it depends what you're looking for. So you kind of appeal to a wider audience that way too. But it helps me stay organized. So my organization system, I am fortunate enough to have a large section of a part of my basement is unfinished, lined with shelves, and I labeled shelves for upcoming curated shows. So then as I'm sourcing, those items can go right on the shelf. So French decor, primitive, whatever it may be. So then it makes it easy where I know, okay, I have a primitive show coming up in 2 weeks. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I'm really short on inventory on my primitive stuff. I need to go source more. Or, oh, wow, I've got a whole lot. I got enough for 2 shows. Let me grab out what I'm going to photograph and get ready for the show. There you go. I plan to do my yarn shows as random and my vintage shows as preloaded. Great idea. Your husband, backspins. I am so fortunate. My husband totally supports my business. He's downstairs running our graphics, doing all the fun stuff. But yes, I am very fortunate in that. We actually had to create a space. So I had a home gym set up in my basement. So most of my basement's finished. Part of it was a home gym. And I actually downsized my gym. I sold off most of my equipment. And we put a curtain up and we turned half of it into what's our studio, where I usually run my shows out of. I just do these chat shows in different rooms of the house. So preloaded, because they have a limited time to watch. So Cynthia likes preloaded. Oh, she kicks me out. Look at my husband. He's down there giving me trouble. So as a buyer, for me, I prefer preloaded. That's my buying perspective, only because, I guess I don't mind the random shows. I kind of like the surprise, but my preference as a buyer is preloaded. As a seller, I do both because I know buyers like both. And I like preloaded for this reason. I like to be able to maximize the money I'm spending. If I'm going to buy one thing and spend $9.21 on shipping, I like to see if there's anything else. I will, as a buyer, if I buy one thing from you, probably end up buying 2 or 3 because I want to fill that box. That's who I am. I am always surprised as a seller. I'm very surprised at the number of people who buy one thing. And then I'm like, wow, you have like 4 more pounds you could have fit in here. Now I know maybe their budget doesn't allow it, whatever, but it kind of surprises me just because my perspective as a buyer, I'm going to try to take advantage of that shipping. That's just how I approach it. By bundling more than one item. Yep. I notice I get a lot of resellers, which is fine with me. You do. So your mix on Whatnot are resellers, just regular buyers. I get a lot of resellers, especially in my dollar shows. So if you were here at my talk show last week, you heard me talk a lot about my dollar shows. I've just started this. It has been, what day are we on? What's the date today? Hold on. We are on I don't even know what day, 20 something, whatever it is, 25th. I have been doing dollar shows for 25 days. So I am not an expert. I am an expert in what my numbers say for these past 25 days though, because I look at them consistently. I've been doing dollar shows because in the vintage decor category, that's my main category I sell in, there's really 4, but one of the sellers isn't on super regular. So to me, there's 3 big time sellers that consistently sell for $1 all the time. And they're all different. Some have full-time jobs. Some do this as their full-time job. Out of these 3, they're all 3 very different sellers, great sellers, interesting sellers. And I watch all 3 of them. I feel there's a niche and a space in the vintage decor category for another dollar seller. I want to be that person. However, If you sell things for a dollar, they're going to sell for a dollar. Not everything. People bid some stuff up, but there is a tipping point. There is a point where you're selling for a dollar, and you better be prepared that a lot of your items are going to go for a dollar. So I get a lot of resellers, and I've noticed the increase in resellers since I've been doing dollars, and I'm okay with that. If I sell it to you for what I feel is reasonable and I make my profit, more power to you. You go sell it. Maybe you have a different audience base than I do. Maybe you sell on a different platform than I do. If you can make money, why not? I mean, it just makes everybody happy. Again, it goes back to that buying experience. The person buying from me is happy at the end of the day, and that's what matters. Um, let's see. I do 3 shows a week, but unfortunately, my work schedule changes weekly. Come to my house. You're a chef. It's hard to cook It's hard to book consistently. See, look at I heard chef, and I'm all about cooking now. Not me cooking, somebody cooking for me. It's hard. Find a day and time to be consistent. I think consistency is huge. Now, I still change. I mean, be as consistent as you possibly can. If you know that you never work Mondays, maybe schedule a show on Monday, or you mainly have your chef responsibilities are mainly in the evenings, maybe schedule a consistent morning show. Just try to find that one time. Like, look back over your schedule and just try to find that one time. My Saturday shows usually every Saturday at 4 o'clock. However, during cheer competition season, that's going to be a Sunday. Nothing I can do about it. This Saturday, I'm going to be in New Jersey at a cheer comp. My show is going to be on Sunday. After a while, your regular people, it doesn't seem to affect them. But I think especially at the beginning, consistency really, really plays a big role in it. People come to expect that. Like Traveler's Antiques, one of my favorite estate sale sellers. I think they're on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if I'm not mistaken. See, but even I'm thinking Monday, Wednesday, Friday. In the morning times around 8 o'clock. So I know if I'm like going to drive somewhere, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Traveler's Antiques is on right now. So your buyers tend to kind of remember that. How do you explain Whatnot's bundle shipping to buyers? I feel like I don't do that well. The way I explain it is $9.21 covers up to 5 pounds. So the first 5 pounds of anything you buy, you're going to pay $9.21, and then it starts over again. Now that is if you do not have custom shipping set up. If you have custom shipping, then you need to alter that little speech to fit your custom shipping. So say if you do up to 5 pounds, but only 2 items in a box because of whatever it may be that you sell, then you say, I put up to 2 items in a box up to 5 pounds. So you just explain. So it's basically up to 5 pounds. At that 5 pound mark is when it starts over again. Let's see. Now I will, on the seller side, when you go to do your shipping, I will bundle over 5 pounds. I'll put like 10 pounds or whatever in one box, and you have to unbundle. But what the buyer is paying is a little bit more. So you'll notice when you go to unbundle, instead of $9.21, it might say, oh, now you pay $5.83, assuming you've used all of your adjustments up, because the buyer's already paid that other portion of it. $1 lets you net about 40 cents. That's correct. It's about, depending on the sale, because you have 30 cents comes off every sale, right? So automatically you're down to 70 cents. You've got your 8%, so that's 8 cents. So now we're down to 62 cents. And then you have your 2.9 on top of that. And the 2.9% is 2.9 on the dollar plus the shipping and the tax. So that varies because your shipping and your tax is going to be dependent on where your buyer is located. So that's a variable amount. On average, it goes anywhere from 14 to 22%, depending on where your buyer's located and if they've already maxed out in shipping or not. So kind of getting back to that, what I was going to say about the dollars is I really feel there's a point where you start with $1, and I'm not a proponent that everybody has to go for $1. I'm doing this because right now it's somewhere that I want to go as part of my overall business model for a portion of my vintage decor. There's some high-end stuff that's coming tonight, my Friday night show, that I just can't take the risk. There is just no way. My investment that I put into some of my higher end items, I can't sell for $1. So those are my Friday night shows. That's why I've created another show, just because I know I can't physically pay $20 for one item and then turn around and take the risk of selling it for $1. Or I can't have an item that I know is worth $80, go for $1. It would break me. Um, but there is, in my opinion, there is a place for it. And I think, though, that you have to get a certain number of people in your show. If you have 10 people in your show and you're doing dollar starts, odds are it's probably not going to work out well because you just don't have enough people bidding those items up, especially when you have an item that's unique. Vintage decor is unique. Not everybody likes every item. It's not like I'm going to find something that's a wild hit. It's not like if you're selling Funko Pops and people just love Funko Pops and maybe it doesn't necessarily depend on which character or which one it is. It's a Funko Pop. Our stuff in vintage decor isn't like that. Like, you can like amberglass, but I can also already have 4 of those things. I might not buy that thing. So you need to have had enough time to build up enough people consistently coming to your shows. Then once you start doing dollar starts, I feel it draws in the crowds more. I have seen my numbers increase as far as people in the show and new buyers since I started doing dollar starts. And I feel that we're at this point now where it's a make or break. Either I'm going to tip it and it's going to be successful, or it's going to stall where it is and I'm going to have to make the business decision that it's not working. That's kind of where we're at right now. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I've had some really great shows, and I've had some shows that are like, oh, okay, more stuff went for $1 than what I wanted it to, but it's okay. And at the end of the day, remember that buying experience we've been talking about all morning. I don't care if you buy something from me for $1 or $100, it's going to get packaged the same. I'm going to show it the same care, love, and attention as any other item because it's part of the whole buying experience. And do you make enough money? I think ultimately you do. Now, I have been seeing the last couple shows, the items getting bid up more and more. That doesn't mean I still probably have 1/3 of my items sell for $1. I knew that going into this. I knew there was a risk of that going into it. I prepared for that. I planned for it. It doesn't make it easy sometimes. I mean, every single show, I look back at my numbers. I look back at this month. I compare it to future shows, and I'm like, okay, do I keep doing this or not? Like, it's a conscious business decision. But I've also got to monitor that growth and know the potential of where it can get to. There's a huge psychological aspect of dollar starts where as soon as somebody bids, first of all, they see something and then their mind are like, oh, that's worth 15 or 20 bucks. I'm going to bid $1. Because heck, if I can get something for 20 bucks for $1, I got a chance at it. But then once they bid, it creates this phantom ownership. And then somebody else bids and they bid again and they bid it. So there could be a momentum that gets going with it. And I've seen that. I've seen that on some of my items, and I'm hoping it continues. But again, it's like a business, straight up business decision that you need to analyze and look at. For you, does it work? And if you don't think it works, don't do it. Like, really, if it's not going to work for your business, you've got to make money at the end of the day. It's all about you and what works for you. And like I said, I'm not doing all my shows. My Friday night show is not a dollar start. My show tonight is not dollar start shows. Now that I'm done with the show and done walk-in sale, 3-day downtime, nervous about algorithm. Oh, don't worry about it. The algorithm here is a little bit different. Book some shows, schedule some shows so people can bookmark them, go into other shows, do a little bit of chat in the shows, participate. You don't have to sell every day to meet an algorithm on whatnot. I don't know exactly how the algorithm works. There's a lot of talk and a lot of speculation. I've heard a lot of stuff, but being active, that doesn't mean always selling on whatnot, helps. At my first show, should I customize shipping? Ferns Attic, depends what you're selling. I would start with basic whatnot shipping and weigh your items appropriately. Make sure you're weighing your items and add in the weight of your box and packing material. So depending on what you're selling, take an item that you sell, find a box that it fits in, pack it the way you would pack it to ship, put it on your scale and figure out how much that whole thing is going to weigh. Make sure that your items, when you list them, are weighted appropriately. Then once you get a couple of shows, you can look back and see your shipping and get an idea and have a feel for what's going on. Would be my suggestion then to start customizing if necessary. I don't do a lot of customized shipping. I tend to rely on whatnot mostly, unless I have big items that I know I can only ship this one item in this box. So when I do that, I'll set up custom shipping to ship, like a large vase or something. Like, this is the only thing that's going in this box. I have some custom shipping set up for that. And I try to make sure I tell my customers that too. Like, hey, this is a ship alone item. So know that this is going to be different shipping for you. I'm not combining it with anything else, just so they know what to expect. Oh, where's the tip button? It is, good question. You can see I haven't done a lot of tips. Let's see. Probably if you go down to the store, so the little icon on the bottom, this way, down on this side, you should be able to tip. Oh, there you go. You can go to the profile and it's there. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for answering. I appreciate that. And thanks for coming in through a shared link.
Thank you.
Do you, let's see, Bill, wait. Oh, I'm trying to figure out the name. It takes me a bit. The Oddity Guy. Bill Y, the Oddity Guy. See there, I got it. Takes me a minute. Do you only do niche shows, like only antiques or ephemera, or sell everything like estate sales and sell everything? What works best? I think it's what works best for you, and what do you think the customer likes? For me personally, my Monday and Wednesday shows are a little bit of everything. I advertise them either under estate sales or vintage decor. I go back and forth because they're a little mix of everything. I can have a coffee mug, or I can have a beautiful antique vase. It's a little mix, or I can have something that hangs on the wall. But then my Saturday shows are very niche as far as like a category: French decor, primitive, ironstone. So I do one show a week that's very niche, and the others are a little more broad. But I do try to stick mostly to vintage. I would say 9 out of every 10 items I sell absolutely meets the definition of vintage, and if not, I usually try to disclose it if I have any idea. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat now.
Thank you.
How do you handle someone that just purchased an item then says, I want to gift that to a certain person in the chat? Oh, Southern Charm. That is such a tricky one. I personally don't like that. Ugh, don't kill me, people. I love the sentiment that somebody buys something and wants to give something away. That is so sweet, and I so appreciate that. But as a seller, you just cost me money. Like, now I have to pay for it, because here's what happens. A buyer will buy something. They pay the shipping for that item, right? Whatnot then, in the background, creates a shipping label to that person who bought it. Okay? I don't get the shipping money. As a seller, we don't see any shipping money. It all stays in the Whatnot Wonderland.
Thank you.
So now you want me to send this item to somebody else. And if it's anything but stickers, it's going to cost me $4 to $9. So now I have to hopefully fit it in somebody else's box. Hopefully it fits in somebody else's box, but now it's increased the weight that person didn't pay for. So now I'm paying for that, because the money you paid for shipping doesn't come to me. So how I would handle that is, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, due to the way Whatnot shipping works, I can't just send it to somebody else. But you guys, if you want to do this, there's a way to gift items. When you go in to buy it, there's a little button down there that says gift to chat. Make sure you click that so that your shipping can pay to get it to that person. So that's how I think I would handle it. I would just say, I'm so sorry, it's so nice of you to buy it, but I have no way of doing that. Unless I know somebody's bought something, I can easily pop it into their box. So it kind of depends on what they bought. They bought something little that I'm for sure, I can just pop it into somebody's box. That's not going to make a big deal. I would just go with it, but then explain, hey, from now on, make sure you click that gift. When you go to buy something, there's a little place where Whatnot will allow you to gift it to somebody. Donna says, do you add weight in your listings on the product itself, or guesstimate based on ready to ship weight? I add weight in my products. So when everything I sell, so if I'm selling this coffee mug, I will weigh it. It says it is 14 ounces. I'm going to add 5 to 8 ounces on for shipping material. Now, that's my guesstimate. The part that I add on is my guesstimate based on experience over time. It usually works out pretty well for me. good morning, Old May Nude Creation. Sorry, I'm just seeing this now. I'm just catching up on chat. You guys, if you have not, if you don't follow Old May Nude Creations, please go do that. I haven't seen you have shows in a while. Are you still doing shows? Throw in there if you're doing shows. She has an awesome antique booth, and if you follow her on Instagram, you get to see all the cool stuff she does in her antique booth. Let's see, shop Molly Lynn. This may be a dumb question. No dumb questions. But if my labels and settings say UPS priority shipping, I can use the free boxes from UPS, correct? Absolutely. So when it says UPS priority shipping, you can use any box. You can use a priority box, the free ones, which makes sense because they're free, or you can use a regular brown box or a recycled box for UPS priority, unless it's a flat rate. If it's a UPS priority flat rate, you must use the flat rate box from the UPS that says flat rate on there. And that is a good way to save on cost. I try to use those boxes as much as possible. If you don't know, you can also order those. Go to USPS.gov online and you can order them. They'll deliver them right to your house. I think a lot of people already know that, so I'm sure I'm not just, oh, thank you for your tip. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, you guys, I'm so far back. I'm trying to catch up on chat. Oh, thank you so much. I don't see it. Okay. So are the free boxes you say flat rate and free boxes that do not say flat rate? Yes. So they're the ones that say flat rate, you cannot use for regular priority mail. They have to be priority mail flat rate. So those are good. If you have something that's super heavy but small enough to fit in the box, then the weight doesn't matter. They can go into that box. Shipping. Thank you guys for the tips. You guys don't have to do that, but I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, Old May New Creation. So you are coming back by the end of May. Awesome. I will look out for your shows. Will my label say? They just say priority mail. You actually, so if you don't set flat rate in your shipping settings, so if you go into your settings and whatnot, you set up kind of your shipping settings that you want to apply to your shows moving forward. So I have plain white envelope at the top clicked, and then anything under 1 pound, under 16 ounces is regular USPS, I forget what, Ground Advantage or whatever the name, regular mail. 1 to 5 is priority, but not the flat rate, it's just priority. In that section, you can pick if you want regular priority or flat rate. My suggestion is go with regular priority because you can change it later. And then anything over 5 pounds is typically USPS. So regular mail. Then when you go to sell, after your item is sold and you go to ship, you will see the customer's name. And if you do the little drop down, you'll see what they bought. But now Whatnot recently has just added expects to ship priority mail based off the weight of those items, right? On the right-hand side of your screen, and I'm assuming you're using a computer, it's what I use on the right-hand side of your screen. When you click that buyer's name, at the top of that, you can then change it. You can edit the shipping. So you can edit your box size, your weight if necessary. And then you can also edit it to go into a flat rate box. So there's where you can change it from regular USPS or regular priority into flat rate. And then you pick underneath that, once you pick, say flat rate, there's another drop down and you have to pick what size flat rate box you're using. There's small, medium, 2 different types of medium and large, I think. I don't know all the options, but you pick which one you're using. So that's how you can get it into the flat rate. But if you don't specifically have flat rate set from the beginning or change it at the end, it's going to come up regular USPS priority. Be careful unless you know, like your category, maybe clothing and stuff, it works really well. Unless you know for sure that your items can fit into flat rate boxes, I would not suggest making it your default from the beginning. Most of what I sell doesn't fit in there. It's hit or miss because I don't know if they're going to buy something little like this or something big like this or how to combine them. So I always do it on the back end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Southern Charm. I appreciate you. Let's see. I don't like the boost button is gone. Makes it hard for people to tip. I like to buy a coffee for people who do community. It's so helpful. Thank you so much. So the boost, let's talk about show boost versus tipping. And I mentioned this seller last week. He's a great seller for shows, and I've probably learned this from him watching his shows. Green 13. He does a talk show every Sunday morning. One of my favorite chat shows. It's kind of my husband's ritual. We wake up on Sundays, have our coffee, and listen to Green 13. He talks about the boost a lot, and he's done some experiments in the past where when you boost, it's like it's a thing for Whatnot to promote. And so far, from everybody I've heard from, the Whatnot promotion tools don't really draw more people into your shows a whole lot. Like, I haven't heard that it's very effective. I've never tried it. This is not from personal experience. This is from what I have heard. So take that with a grain of salt. This is secondhand knowledge that I'm hearing from other people. Whereas tipping does go straight to that person. All right. We are getting close to wrapping up, but let's keep talking a little bit more here. What else do we talk about? We talked a ton about the buying experience and just making sure it's a good buyer experience from the minute you create your show all the way until you ship it. Yes, boost money, Van Wert Vintage, boost money goes into Whatnot pockets, tips goes to the sellers, and no fees are taken out. There you go. Nice, concise summary that tells you everything you need right there. How would you recommend getting more viewers?
Thank you.
Oh, that is the $1 million question right there. My suggestion is to be active. Go into other shows, chat in other shows, but do it genuine. Like, you can tell when people are just chatting to just, like, people say stuff sometimes and you're just like, what was that? But be genuine. Go into other shows, interact. I'm not a super huge fan of sponsored giveaways. Some people say that works. But I would say mostly interacting. If you have social media, you can use it. I don't find social media to be super effective for me personally, but other people I see use it, do a wonderful job with it. But I think just being active in other people's shows, being part of the community, and then being consistent with your shows and creating that buyer experience. Your viewers are pre-buyers, so they are part of your buying experience. Your viewers are just as important as your buyers. So don't discard them. Just because you have 10 people in your show and only one is buying, those other 9 are vitally important parts of that show. They just haven't clicked the button yet. They're in the very early stages of that buying experience. You need to cater to them too. Let's see. Does Whatnot ding you if you change to flat rate box on the back end? No, not at all. Nope. They give you the option so that you can try to make the most of the shipping that they have. And actually, Whatnot shipping, there's so much talk about Whatnot shipping. I actually find it kind of, I don't know. Custom, once you start taking into account all the custom stuff, it could get a little complicated. But I don't think the Whatnot shipping process is as hard as it seems to be on the surface. I think once you get into it, and you understand it a little bit, it's not really that difficult, and the prices are actually pretty decent. The prices are decent for shipping. I know $9.21 seems like a lot. I mean, that's more than a Starbucks, but compared to some of the other platforms, it's not really that bad in the big scheme of things. Is there a way to promote a lot of specific size of clothes? For example, size 6'8", is there a way to promote a lot of specific? I'm not sure about like promoting besides like maybe doing a special show catered to that. So like if you have it, maybe creating your thumbnail to call out those features, putting that in the title of your show. So as people are scrolling, they can see that and they're like, oh, size 6'8", that's me. I want to, if that's all that's in this show's catered to me. I want to go watch that. So making sure people can see it. I notice every so often, welcome in across the top of your screen. How do you do that? Looks cool. That is my husband running graphics. So he has this all hooked up to a computer system. And so he runs all of our graphics for us. He's actually did a show on our YouTube channel. He has a whole talk show that's saved there that talks about how to add graphics in. Like that. There you go. And there's the YouTube. You can go watch his show. I've heard the other sellers say that they usually mess up when they start a lot of customizing on shipping. Yeah, and that's why my advice is to start with the Whatnot shipping. Do a couple of shows, get a few shows under your belt, go back and look at your shipping. How did it go? How did it feel? Did you spend money? Did you not?
Thank you.
And then take that information that you've learned and then think about, do I need custom shipping? I like to watch shows even if I can't purchase at the moment, is that considered? Absolutely not. Um, not at all. You having he, he okay, hold on. He's saying my husband's yelling at me that I missed somebody's question. Let me scroll up. Let's see. I don't know what question he says I'm missing. If I missed your question, if you asked me something and I missed it because my husband's telling me I missed a question, please put it in again so I can address it. I am so sorry if I missed your question. Was not trying to. Let's see. I've heard other sellers say they usually mess up shipping. Yes, so that's why I say practice a bit first and then do customized. I like to watch shows I can't purchase. Yes. No, you are a viewer. You're an integral part of the show. I'm not selling anything here. You guys are all viewers here. And look at the chat. I couldn't do this without viewers. Having viewers in your show, one, it shows the numbers. Like, so you have your thumbnails and people are scrolling through and you can see the little number of viewers up at the top. That's super important. I mean, some shows, if you have 100 and something, you're like, oh, wow, what's going on with that seller? That's kind of cool. It probably piques your interest, right? Or if you see somebody with 3 or 10 or 15, you're like, oh, wow, okay, it's a smaller show. I want to go join that one. And just having you there as a seller, emotionally, having people in my show helps me. Because when I see up in that red dot and it's just me, I have a hard time. Like, I make myself keep talking and I act like there's 100 people, but emotionally it's hard. So having you there is moral support, even if you don't realize you're providing moral support. Okay, I'm working through the questions. If it is a question just to me, make sure it's a question mark so I can see it. I'm looking for it. He's telling me I missed something and I'm trying to look for it. All right, I'm going to go back. I'm working backwards now. I want to create a group of new seller collabs and Comedia. Any way to support one another? Any advice? Not exactly sure what you're asking. I think just in supporting each other is going to each other's shows, being kind to each other. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. If you can maybe define that a little bit more for me, I'll try to answer it better. I'm scheduling my first show very soon. Oh, thank you so much, Cheryl. All right, let's see. Any other? Did I miss any questions? All right, one other seller I want to call out. I've seen her helping out answering questions in here. The Sassy Vintage chick, she does a talk show too. Sassy, can you throw in, I think it's Tuesday evenings if I'm correct. Can you throw in your time too on when your talk show is so people can go check that out? She talks a lot about new seller stuff, so she's a great one too. There it is, Tuesday at 6 p.m. I was right, Tuesdays. There you go. Supporting one another and alternate co-mods. Yeah, just being supportive of each other. I mean, there's a lot of friendships that have been made on Whatnot. So you get to know people. I don't typically mod people only because my husband, I do the show with him and he acts as my mod. But being mods to other people, it's habit to oh no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for jumping in and answering questions. That is super helpful. But being mod for somebody is a great way to like help build that community. Some people need more than one mod. They need 2 or 3 because their chat is just exploding and they have so many people in there. So I think all of that just kind of helps build that community. And you guys remember, this is a community. Like, cut each other some slack here. Like, be nice. Just know too, my last thing as a buyer, I wanted to give one more piece of advice as a buyer, is be understanding that USPS is out of our control. That is like my biggest, like hardest thing. What they do to a package, how long they take to ship it. 9 out of every 10 sellers here, are there scammy ones? Yes, there's scammy ones. We hear about them all the time. But you know what? For the most part, all sellers here are really good people that want to give you a good product, want to get it to you in one piece and on time. But once we pack it the best we can and put it into the hands of the post office, it is out of our control. So as a buyer, just kind of be cool with that. Be just understanding of us sometimes. Now, knowing that from the other side as a seller, if you see your stuff's not getting delivered for a long time, maybe check in with your buyer. I've had a couple of instances that it does not update at all. Like I see no tracking, and I've reached out and they're like, oh, I got it. And I'm like, okay, thank goodness, or I reach out and like, hey, this isn't updating. I did drop it off. So just communicate. Go schedule shows. Yes. Sassy Vintage, go schedule shows. We can't bookmark. We can't, plan to come and see you if there's nothing there to follow. Schedule some shows. Even if you reschedule them, schedule them. Here's the other thing. Don't cancel a show. Don't cancel a show that has bookmarks. If you scheduled 4 or 5 shows out and you're like, oh, that 5th one, nope, we're going to cancel it. It's okay. Try not to do it too often. But once you have bookmarks, never cancel it because you lose your bookmarks. Just reschedule it. Just go in and change the date and time if necessary. That way your bookmarks stay. I had a package delivered, but whatnot showed up 3 days later and different tracking number. See, there you go, right there. Perfect example. So Lake Erie Vintage, she had a package that got delivered, or it was delivered. It ended up 3 days later and a different number. Sometimes we make mistakes as sellers. We're human. We do it. I've made my fair share of mistakes. As long as we're communicating and doing our best as buyers, try to be appreciative of that. And same thing though. It works both ways. Like as sellers, we need to be honest and do our thing too. All right, y'all, I've been on here almost 2 hours. I do have to go to my 9 to 5. Unfortunately, I'd much rather stay and talk to you guys all day. I do appreciate you hanging out with me so much. I really appreciate it. Let's go see who's on really quick. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to flip over here and, well, I thought I was. I was about to. I'm going to flip over and just see who else is on right now.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here. It just makes it so much better for me when you were here. Let's see if Traveler's Antiques happens to be on. I talked about him earlier in the show. I do not see him on. I don't know if he's on Fridays. He's on 3 days a week. Who is on in community? Let's see if there's another chat show. Nobody's on in chat right this second. How about Vintage Decor? I'm just striking out all over the place. There has to be somebody on in Vintage Decor. There is a ton of people. Let's see. All right. I do not know this person. If they're wonderful, I get all the credit that you went to a great show. If they're terrible, I'm sorry. I didn't send you there. But I do not know River Run Trading Post. We're going to go make a new friend today. Please show them some love. I am an early bird. Yes, that happens. The older you get, the earlier you tend to do things. I don't know. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Honey, what are you doing?